After an overnight storm left the course covered in debris, the Inmakilly Motor Club had a tough task to get the sweep swept for a practice and one-timed run as round 5 of the Naylor Engineering National Hillclimb and Sprint Championship 2017. There were some exciting visitors to this weekend's hill. Brendan Stone had brought the 750 brake horsepower Stone Motorsport Drift Taxi to throw at Dungarvan's 2 hairpins.
Brendan Stone, former drift champion, time attack champion. You're having to go with this hill climbing now as well.
Yeah, as you said, done a bit of time attack, still doing some drifting, done a bit of rallying. So I said we give the hills a go.
And this car is famous as the drift taxi, is that right?
Yeah, it usually has 4 seats for basically bringing people, scaring people, and letting people enjoy it as well as we do.
That must be some experience to go around the track with the passengers on board, is it?
Yeah, it's very good. It's very good. It's completely different than just having one person with you, because they kind of bounce off one another, and everyone so far has enjoyed it anyway.
Yeah. Do you have to wear earplugs?
No, it's usually okay.
So, what kind of power have you got in this car?
It's 750 horsepower. Not on the ideal tyres, but we just say we come and see how it goes, and yeah, it gets hairy now in places, alright.
So do you think, would you have more adaptations to the car if you wanted to do more hill climbing?
Yeah, a little bit better brakes. It's a very heavy car to stop. Obviously better tyres, the proper slicks for hill climbing would be a big help. It is a drift car at the end of the day, so you know, we didn't make a whole lot of changes. It's going quite well. Tyres and brakes really would make a big difference.
And Dungarvan's a great hill to try with. You've got a hairpin going in each direction, don't you?
Yeah, hopefully later on we get a couple more runs today and put on a bit of a show later on, hopefully.
The top hairpin, if the sun is out, can attract a lot of spectators, so I'm sure they'll be looking forward to seeing you.
Yeah, I have a few tyres there for that later on.
Good man. Well, listen, thanks for coming, thanks for trying it out, and we'll hopefully see you again as well.
Hopefully, yeah. Hopefully we'll do another 1 or 2 before the end of the year.
Brendan had a fine result, reaching 12th overall and claiming Class 3B honours. Just ahead of the 350 brake horsepower turbo, rear-wheel drive starlet of Mark Carroll. Mark had a little bit of a moment in practice, so may have had a slightly cautious approach to the one and only run. Many drivers were brewing the could-have-beens when the event was declared over before a second run. Ben O'Brien, suffering a numerical identity crisis, was one of these. He clipped cones, so recorded no result for the day, but is still leading the class championship. Peter McKinley, who hadn't had the Escort out yet this season, was facing a marathon engine refit to the Escort. He'd returned home from a work trip to Mexico on Friday night, where the engine was waiting to be fitted. He got it in and made it down for Sunday, where he re-established the Escort's domination. Top of the class. Mick Walsh was debuting his RT2000, looked very comfortable with a roof over his head again, third in the class on round 5. Jason Ryan will have been delighted to edge out Stone with his Civic, 11th overall and first in 2 litre Rally Class 8. Mark Dolphin was entertaining on his way to the top 10 finish and second in the Unlimited Rally Class 10. Seamus Morris, a former winner of a very wet Dungarvan hill climb a number of years ago, won that class and was 9th overall in the Darien. Gary Cunningham made the most of his one run for second in the sports car class with his Global GT Light, 8th in the event. Paul O'Connell won his class and was 4th overall, but didn't catch Rory Stevens' Radical as he did in France. Stevens was 3rd overall. Gary Egan and Billy White were quick off the mark in their Formula Renault, 5th and 6th overall, and just ahead of Russell Stanworth on the first day at the sweep. Russell, campaigning the Reynard Opel Lotus, was 3rd in Class 7.
Russell Stanworth, you're a regular in your Reynard Opel Lotus, and it's a car we don't see a lot of these days, but they're a very competitive car on the hills over the years. Do you enjoying it?
Yeah, it's great. They're a great car. Yeah, there's not as many out as there used to be. I think there was maybe 2 or 3, maybe 4 of them when I first started on the hill climbs with the Opel Lotus, but that seemed to be the only one left now.
A stalwart. What kind of power does it develop?
It's about 260, 265.
You had a little bit of trouble with it last year. I remember seeing you a difficult weekend in Carlow and stuff.
I did have some difficulties with the end, yeah. We had oil issues.
And you were nearly rebuilding the engine yourself in the paddock.
I did. But then I ended up going to our colleague Mr. Nolan, who sorted me out with his engine, and it was basically the same spec as mine, which was good. So
the car looked very comfortable actually on the hill. It looked like kind of the corners were falling between your gearing quite well. Would you say?
I seem to be geared pretty well for this year, but it's too. I find it difficult on the bumps. I'm banging off the road all the time on the floor. I'm too low. I should really try and lift the car a bit, but I've done that before, and it tends to upset the balance of it if we lift it. So I kind of have to put up with banging off the road a bit. But the gearing seems to suit the hill very well. Yeah.
You're definitely having a better season this year so far.
Oh yes. Yeah, much better. So hopefully it'll continue.
Russell would catch the two single-seater newbies on Sunday afternoon. At the top of the field, once again, Joe Courtney laid down a sufficiently fast time to secure the win, just under a second ahead of Robert Dwan, both drivers splashing through standing water on their slicks. Éanna Carroll was third in the Centos, rejoining the challenge. Danny Hurley was just over 3/10 ahead. With his third win at round 5, Damien Walsh is starting to build a slight championship lead. Jack Kingston was first on scratch in Class 4, showing quite a turn of pace in the Lotus Elan. Enda Byrne made a very competitive return to Class 5 in the V he shares with Siobhan McCann. Class Championship leader John Whitley was second, with Siobhan third. Tommy Gardner won Class 2 in the Honda Civic, making up some ground in the Class Championship. Dara Fay took the Bantam Class 1A win again in the Suzuki Swift and went into the lead of the Saloon Championship after round 5. We'd be back to a slightly less disrupted sweep for round 6 of the championship the next day.